The apartment had become a museum of memories, each corner holding fragments of who we used to be. Wedding photos on the mantel collected dust. The kitchen table where we once shared breakfast and dreams now only held laptops and takeout containers. I couldn't remember the last time Mia and I had actually looked at each other, really looked, without resentment clouding our eyes. I was Ryan Mitchell, 33 years old, and I was losing my wife in slow motion. It started small, the way these things always do. Missed dinners because of late meetings, her phone face down on the counter, my irritation at finding her clothes on the bedroom floor, her sighs when I talked about work. We'd become experts at existing in the same space without truly being together. That Thursday night, everything came to a head. "You're never here," Mia said, standing in the doorway of our bedroom, arms crossed. Her dark hair was pulled back, highlighting the exhaustion on her face. "Physically, maybe, but you're not here, Ryan." I looked up from my architectural plans spread across the bed like battle maps. "I'm trying to make partner, Mia. This is for us. For our future." "What future?" Her voice cracked. "We don't even have a present." The argument escalated the way they always did. Old wounds reopened, accusations hurled like grenades. I brought up how she'd been distant for months. She countered with how I'd missed her birthday dinner last month. I mentioned the mysterious texts she quickly deleted. She threw a pillow at me. "You don't trust me," she said, tears streaming down her face. "After 7 years together, you still don't trust me. Then help me trust you," I shouted back. "Tell me why you're always on your phone. Why you go for drives alone at midnight. Why you flinch when I touch you." She stared at me, something breaking behind her eyes. "I can't do this right now." Mia grabbed her keys and jacket, heading for the door. I followed her to the living room, my heart pounding with anger and fear. "Where are you going?" "Out, away, I need space to think." "Mia, it's almost midnight." She spun around, eyes blazing. "I don't need your permission, Ryan, I need air. I need to breathe without feeling like I'm suffocating under your suspicion and your absence." The door slammed, leaving me alone in the silence. I paced the apartment, running my hands through my hair, replaying the argument. Maybe I'd been too harsh. Maybe she was right about me being absent. But the secret's the distance. Wasn't I allowed to be hurt too? My phone buzzed. A text from Mia. "Don't call me." 3 words that felt like a knife. Cold, final, dismissive. My thumb hovered over her name. I wanted to call, to apologize, to bring her home. But pride and anger formed a wall around my heart. If she wanted space, fine. If she wanted to run instead of fight for us, maybe we were already over. I typed back without thinking, my fingers moving faster than my reason. "Don't come home." I hit send and immediately regretted it. The message sat there in blue, mocking me. What had I done? I just told my wife not to come home. In what world was that the right response? I threw my phone onto the coffee table and collapsed on the couch, hands covering my face. The apartment felt impossibly empty. The clock on the wall ticked loudly, each second a reminder of how badly I'd screwed up. I should call her, apologize, tell her I didn't mean it. But her message echoed in my mind. "Don't call me." So I sat there in the dark, waiting for my anger to subside, waiting for clarity, waiting for the courage to be the bigger person. 10 minutes passed. 10 minutes that would change everything. My phone started buzzing once, twice, 3 times. I ignored it, thinking it was Mia calling to yell at me. Let her be angry. I was angry too, but it didn't stop. 4, 5, 6 calls. 7. I grabbed my phone, ready to answer, ready to fight or apologize or whatever this moment needed. But Mia's name wasn't on the screen. It was a number I didn't recognize. My hands shook as I answered. "Hello, is this Ryan Mitchell?" A man's voice, official and grave. "Yes, who is this?" "This is Officer Davidson with the Metro Police Department." "Sir, are you the husband of Mia Mitchell?" The room tilted. "Yes, what happened?" "Is she okay?" "Sir, your wife's vehicle was involved in an accident near the Riverside Bridge about 20 minutes ago. We need you to come to Metro General Hospital immediately." The drive to the hospital was a blur of streetlights and terror. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I couldn't breathe properly. Couldn't think past the officer's words echoing in my skull. Accident, Riverside Bridge, immediately. I'd killed her. Not with my hands, but with my words. Don't come home. What kind of monster says that to his wife? What kind of husband pushes away the person he vowed to protect? The emergency room was chaos. Fluorescent lights too bright, the smell of antiseptic mixing with fear and desperation. I ran to the reception desk, barely able to speak. Mia Mitchell, my wife. She was brought in from a car accident. 3rd floor trauma wing, the nurse said, already typing. Take the elevator on your right. I ran. People stared as I pushed past them, but I didn't care. Nothing mattered except getting to Mia, seeing her, telling her I was sorry, that I loved her, that I was an idiot who didn't mean any of it. Officer Davidson met me outside the trauma unit. He was in his 40s with kind eyes that had seen too much tragedy. Mr. Mitchell, I'm Officer Davidson. We spoke on the phone. Where is she? Is she alive? Please tell me she's alive. He held up his hands. She's alive, but it's serious. The doctors are with her now. Sir, I need to ask you some questions about tonight. I don't care about questions. I need to see my wife. Mr. Mitchell, please. His voice was firm but gentle. The doctors are doing everything they can. While we wait, I need to understand what happened before the accident. I wanted to scream, to punch the wall, to rewind time. Instead, I collapsed into a waiting room chair and told him everything. The argument. The texts. The 20 missed calls that I'd ignored because I was too proud, too angry, too stupid. She was trying to call me. I whispered, staring at my phone. 19 missed calls from Mia, all in a span of 10 minutes. Why was she calling so many times? Officer Davidson's expression softened. We believe she lost control of the vehicle while trying to reach you. Her phone was still in her hand when we found her. The airbag deployed, but she hit her head on the driver's side window. She was unconscious when the paramedics arrived. My stomach lurched. I was going to be sick. This is my fault. I told her not to come home. She was trying to call me and Mr. Mitchell, accidents happen for many reasons. What matters now is that she gets the treatment she needs. But it was my fault. I knew it in my bones. If I'd answered her calls, if I'd swallowed my pride, if I'd been the husband she deserved instead of the stubborn fool I'd become, she wouldn't be fighting for her life right now. A doctor emerged from the trauma room. Still in surgical scrubs, her expression carefully neutral. My heart stopped. Are you Ryan Mitchell? Yes, how is she? Please tell me she's going to be okay. The doctor guided me to a quieter corner. Your wife sustained significant head trauma from the impact. We've stopped the bleeding, but she's slipped into a coma. The next 48 hours are critical. A coma? The word didn't make sense. Mia was vibrant, alive, always moving. Mia didn't do stillness. But she'll wake up, right? She has to wake up. We're doing everything we can. The brain is complex, and with trauma like this, we have to wait and monitor. She's stable for now, but I won't lie to you. The next few days will determine a lot. Can I see her? Yes, but prepare yourself. She's on a ventilator, and there are a lot of machines. It might be overwhelming. Nothing could have prepared me for seeing Mia like that. She lay in the hospital bed, so small and fragile beneath white sheets. Tubes and wires connected her to machines that beeped and hummed, tracking every heartbeat, every breath that wasn't really hers. Her face was bruised, a bandage wrapped around her head. Her hands, usually so expressive, lay motionless at her sides. I pulled a chair next to her bed and took her hand. It was warm at least, real. Still, Mia. I'm so sorry, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. I'm so sorry, baby. I didn't mean it. Any of it. Please wake up. Please come back to me. The machines beeped their indifferent rhythm. Mia didn't move. I stayed there all night, holding her hand, talking to her, begging her to squeeze my fingers, to give me any sign that she could hear me. The nurses came and went, checking monitors, adjusting IVs, offering me coffee I couldn't drink. At dawn, Officer Davidson returned with a plastic evidence bag. We found this in your wife's car, he said gently. Thought you might want it. Inside was Mia's phone, the screen cracked but still glowing, and a piece of paper, folded and slightly torn. I took the paper with shaking hands. It was in Mia's handwriting, written hastily. Mom, I miss you. I'm coming to your spot tonight to think, like I always do when life gets hard. I need to figure out how to save my marriage. Ryan thinks I'm hiding something, but I'm just hiding my grief. How do I tell him I visit your memorial every week? That I cry to you about us? He'd think I'm broken. Maybe I am. But I love him. I just need to find my way back to him. The note ended there, unfinished. My vision blurred with tears. She hadn't been cheating. She hadn't been pulling away. She'd been mourning her mother, who died 18 months ago, and I'd been so wrapped up in my own insecurities that I'd never noticed. I looked at my wife, so still in that hospital bed, and something inside me shattered completely. "I'm going to make this right," I promised her, my voice breaking. "I'm going to be better. Just please, Mia, please wake up." The hospital became my world. I called my firm and took indefinite leave. Marcus, my boss, didn't argue. He just told me to take care of my family. I couldn't remember the last time I'd prioritized family over work. The irony wasn't lost on me. Days blended into nights. I slept in the chair next to Mia's bed when I slept at all. The nurses knew me by name now. Sandra, the night shift nurse with kind eyes, brought me sandwiches I barely touched. Dr. Patel updated me twice daily with medical jargon that always boiled down to the same thing: wait and hope. I read the unfinished note so many times I memorized every word, every curve of Mia's handwriting. Her mother, Linda, had died of cancer a year and a half ago. I remembered the funeral, remembered holding Mia as she sobbed, but then life swept us along and I'd assumed she'd healed. Or maybe I just hadn't bothered to check. What kind of husband doesn't notice his wife is still grieving? On the third day, Mia's best friend Jessica arrived with flowers and fury. "Where were you?" she demanded, standing in the doorway like an avenging angel. "Why wasn't she home with you? Why was she alone?" I deserved her anger. We had a fight. I said terrible things. "Jess, My voice broke. "This is my fault." Her expression softened slightly when she saw Mia. She moved to the other side of the bed, taking Mia's hand. "She talked about you all the time, you know. Even when things got hard. She loved you so much it scared her." "What do you mean?" Jessica looked at me, weighing something. "She was afraid you'd leave her, that you'd find someone less broken, less sad. After her mom died, she felt like she was drowning, but she didn't want to burden you. You were so focused on making partner, building your career, she thought you needed a strong wife, not a grieving one." The revelation hit me like a physical blow. She thought I'd leave her? "Jess, I've loved her since we were 25. She's everything to me." "Then why didn't you tell her that? Why didn't you see her pain?" I had no answer. Jessica was right. I'd been blind, selfish, consumed by my own ambitions while my wife silently fell apart. After Jessica left, I pulled out my phone and started reading through old messages between Mia and me. Months of texts, scrolling back to when things were good. Jokes, inside references, love notes. Somewhere along the way, our messages had become transactional. Working late. Don't wait up. Okay, see you tomorrow. When had we stopped saying I love you? When had we stopped seeing each other? I started talking to Mia. Not just apologizing anymore, but really talking. I told her about my day. About the cafeteria coffee that tasted like dishwater. About how Sandra the nurse had 3 kids and somehow still had energy to smile. I read her favorite poetry, Mary Oliver, whose words Mia had always found comforting. I played music on my phone, soft songs from our early days together. "Remember our first apartment?" I said one afternoon, holding her hand. "That tiny studio with the broken radiator? We had to huddle under blankets all winter, and you said it was romantic. I thought you were crazy, but you were right. Everything was romantic back then because we were together." The machines beeped. Mia's chest rose and fell with mechanical precision. "I found your mom's memorial," I continued. I looked up Riverside Bridge. "There's a small garden there, isn't there? With the bench that has her name on it. You donated it. I should have been there with you, Mia. Every single time you visited, I should have been there." On the 5th day, I brought my laptop and showed her photos. Our wedding. God, we'd been so young, so happy, so certain we could handle anything together. Vacations, holidays, random Tuesday nights curled up on the couch. Evidence of a love I'd let slip through my fingers. "I was so stupid," I whispered. "I thought providing for you meant working 80-hour weeks. I thought love meant paying bills and planning for retirement. But you didn't need a provider, Mia. You needed a partner. You needed me to see you." Dr. Patel came by that evening for her usual check. She examined Mia's charts, her responses to stimuli, the brain activity monitors. "Talk to me honestly," I said. "What are her chances?" Dr. Patel set down the clipboard. "Every day she remains stable is a good sign. We're seeing some brain activity that suggests she might be processing external stimuli. Keep talking to her. Keep being present. Sometimes that makes the difference." That night, I pulled out my phone and did something I'd never done before. I opened my notes app and started writing to Mia. All the things I'd never said. All the apologies I owed, all the love I'd forgotten to express. Dear Mia, I don't know if you can hear me, but I need to say this. I failed you. Not just the night of the accident, but for months before that. I was so focused on becoming someone impressive that I forgot to be someone present. I found your note. I know about the memorial visits. I know you were grieving and I wasn't there for you. That kills me, Mia. You should have been able to share that pain with me. That's what marriage is supposed to be, sharing everything, even the hard stuff. I'm reading to you every day. Poetry, old texts, memories. I need you to know that you're not alone in there. I'm right here and I'm not going anywhere. Not this time. Come back to me, please. I promise I'll be better. I'll be the husband you deserved from the beginning. I love you. I never stopped. I just forgot to show it. Ryan, I read the letter aloud to her, my voice cracking on every other word. When I finished, I thought I saw something, a flutter of her eyelids maybe, or just a trick of the light. Mia? I leaned forward, squeezing her hand. Can you hear me, baby? The machines continued their rhythm. But then, there. A small twitch of her fingers against mine. So slight I almost missed it. Dr. Patel. I called out, my heart hammering. Something happened. Her hand moved. Dr. Patel rushed in with 2 nurses, immediately checking Mia's vitals and examining her responses. They shone lights in her eyes, tested her reflexes, adjusted monitors. I stood back, my heart in my throat, terrified I'd imagined the whole thing. There, Dr. Patel said, a note of cautious excitement in her voice. See that? Her right hand is responding to stimuli. This is good, Mr. Mitchell. This is very good. So she can hear me? She knows I'm here? It's hard to say definitively, but patients in comas often have varying levels of awareness. The fact that she's responding to your presence suggests her brain is processing information. Keep doing what you're doing, talking to her, engaging with her. It might be helping more than we can measure. After they left, I pulled my chair even closer to Mia's bed. You're fighting, aren't you? I felt it. You squeezed my hand. God, Mia, keep fighting. Please keep fighting. I spent the next several days reading everything to her. I read her favorite novel, The Night Circus, doing different voices for different characters until my throat was raw. I read articles about architecture she'd always pretended to find interesting, but probably found boring. I read her diary. Yes, I violated her privacy, but I was desperate to understand who she'd become in the months I'd stopped paying attention. The diary broke my heart. Entry after entry of her trying to be brave, trying to hide her grief from me because she thought I had enough on my plate. Entries about visiting her mother's memorial at midnight because that was the only time she felt she could fall apart. Entries about loving me but feeling invisible in her own marriage. June 14th. Ryan came home at midnight again. I'd made dinner. He didn't even notice. I ate alone, then scraped his plate into the trash. How do you compete with blueprints and ambition? How do you tell someone you're drowning when they're so focused on sailing away? July 22nd, visited Mom's bench today. Told her I don't know how to save my marriage. She always knew what to say. Ryan doesn't even ask me how I am anymore. We live like roommates who occasionally have sex. Is this what forever looks like? September 3rd. I think Ryan suspects I'm having an affair. He watches me with suspicious eyes when I'm on my phone. If only he knew I'm just texting Jess about how lonely I am. I'm too tired to fight about it. Too tired to fight for us. Maybe we're just done. The entries stopped a week before the accident. I closed the diary and pressed my forehead against the cool hospital bed rail, tears streaming down my face. I see you now, Mia. I said, I see everything. I see your pain and your strength and your incredible capacity to love even when you felt unloved. I see how hard you tried to save us while I was busy building a career. I see you and I'm never looking away again. On the 8th day, Jessica returned with Mia's brother Tom, who'd flown in from Seattle. Tom and I had always gotten along, but the look he gave me now was pure ice. Take a walk with me, he said. It wasn't a request. We ended up in the hospital courtyard, a small garden with benches and struggling flowers. Tom turned to face me, his jaw tight. My sister is lying in a coma because you told her not to come home. Tom, Let me finish. His voice shook with controlled rage. Mia called me 2 weeks ago. Said she was thinking about leaving you. Said she felt invisible in her own marriage. I told her to give you one more chance. To try talking to you. So she did. And you told her not to come home. The words hit like bullets. She'd been considering leaving me. I'd been so close to losing her even before the accident. You're right, I said quietly. I failed her. I failed her in every way a husband can fail a wife. But Tom, I swear to you, if she wakes up, I will spend the rest of my life making this right. I'll be the man she deserves. The man she needed me to be all along. Tom studied me for a long moment. She loved you so much, Ryan. Even when she was talking about leaving, she couldn't stop loving you. That's the only reason I'm not punching you right now. We went back upstairs together. Tom sat with Mia for an hour, holding her hand, telling her stories about their childhood. I watched them and understood something crucial. Mia had people who loved her, who saw her, who showed up. I needed to be one of those people again. That night, after everyone left, I did something I hadn't done in years. I prayed. I wasn't particularly religious, but in that moment, I needed to believe someone was listening. I don't know if you're there, I said into the darkness, but if you are, please, don't take her from me, not like this. Not when I finally understand what I had. Give me a chance to make it right. Please. Around midnight, I dozed off, still holding Mia's hand. I dreamed we were back in that tiny first apartment, huddled under blankets, laughing about nothing and everything. In the dream, Mia said, "Don't let me go, Ryan. Promise me you won't let me go." "I promise," I said. "I promise." I woke to a sound, a small gasp, barely audible over the machines. My eyes flew open. Mia's face was different. Her eyelids were moving, rapid eye movement like she was dreaming. Her breathing pattern had changed slightly, the ventilator adjusting to her own attempts to breathe. "Mia?" I stood up, leaning over her. "Baby, can you hear me? Squeeze my hand if you can hear me." Nothing. Then, there. A definite squeeze, stronger than before. I hit the call button and within seconds the night staff rushed in. Dr. Patel arrived shortly after, roused from on-call sleep but immediately alert. "Talk to her," Dr. Patel instructed as she and the nurses worked. "Keep her engaged." "Mia, it's Ryan. I'm right here. You're safe. You're in the hospital, but you're going to be okay. Keep fighting, baby. Come back to me." Another squeeze, stronger this time. Her eyelids fluttered, like she was trying to open them, but couldn't quite manage it. "That's it," Dr. Patel encouraged. "She's starting to emerge. This is what we've been hoping for." Over the next hour, Mia began responding more consistently. Her eyes would flutter when I spoke. Her fingers would move in response to gentle pressure. The ventilator showed her taking some breaths on her own. "We're going to try reducing the sedation," Dr. Patel said. "If her body continues responding this well, we might be able to remove the breathing tube soon. This is very encouraging, Mr. Mitchell." I stayed awake the rest of the night talking to Mia continuously, telling her everything I'd learned, every regret, every hope for our future. "We're going to start over," I promised her. "When you wake up, and you will wake up, we're going to remember how to be us again. I'm going to take you to your mom's memorial and we'll sit there together and you can tell me everything. I want to know your grief, Mia. I want to share it. That's what I should have been doing all along." As dawn broke through the hospital window, painting the room in soft light, Mia's eyes finally slowly began to open. The first thing Mia saw was blurry light, then shapes, then my face hovering above hers, tears streaming down my cheeks. Her eyes were confused, unfocused. The ventilator was still in, preventing her from speaking, but she was awake. She was looking at me. After 12 days of terrifying stillness, my wife was awake. "Don't try to talk," Dr. Patel said gently, coming into Mia's line of sight. "You have a breathing tube. We're going to remove it soon, but first we need to make sure you're stable. Can you squeeze my hand?" Mia squeezed. "Excellent. Can you wiggle your toes?" I watched Mia's feet move under the blanket. Relief flooded through me so intensely I thought I might collapse. "Wonderful." "Mia, you've been in a medically induced coma for 12 days. You were in a car accident. Do you remember anything?" Mia's eyes moved to me, questioning. I took her hand carefully. "You're okay," I said, my voice breaking. "You're going to be okay." The next hour was a flurry of medical activity. They removed the ventilator, a process that looked uncomfortable, but Mia handled it bravely. They ran tests, checked her vitals, asked her questions to assess cognitive function. She was weak, her voice barely a whisper, but she was present. She was here. Finally, Dr. Patel and the nurses left us alone. Mia looked at me with those dark eyes I'd fallen in love with 13 years ago, and I saw everything there: confusion, fear, pain, but also something else. Recognition. Love. "Ryan," she whispered, her voice raw. "What? What happened?" I pulled the chair close and took both her hands, gentle with the IV lines. "We had a fight. You left. You were in a car accident near your mom's memorial. Mia, I'm so sorry. I'm so incredibly sorry." Tears welled in her eyes. The text. "You told me not to come home." The guilt crashed over me again. I know. I was angry and stupid, and I didn't mean it. God, Mia, I didn't mean any of it. I found your note. I know about the memorial visits, about your mom, about everything. I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you. I was calling you," she said, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I was driving, and I realized I was running away instead of fighting for us. I tried to call you to tell you I was coming home, that we needed to talk, really talk, but you didn't answer." My own tears matched hers. "I was being stubborn. I saw your calls and thought you were just going to yell at me, and I couldn't continue, shame choking my words. I dropped my phone," Mia continued, her voice breaking. "I bent down to grab it and the car swerved. I remember headlights and then nothing." I pressed her hands to my face, unable to contain the sobs. "This is my fault. All of it. If I had just answered, if I hadn't been so prideful and blind." "Ryan." Her weak voice stopped me. "Ryan, look at me." I did. Her face was pale, bruised, exhausted, but there was a strength in her eyes I recognized. "We both broke us," she said quietly. "I stopped talking to you about my grief because I thought you couldn't handle it. You stopped seeing me because you were focused on providing. We both forgot how to be partners. But I should have. Stop." She squeezed my hands. "Just stop. We can't undo what happened. We can only decide what happens next." I leaned my forehead against our joined hands. "I want to be better, Mia. I want to be the husband you deserve. I've spent 12 days at your bedside, reading to you, talking to you, realizing everything I'd lost sight of. I don't care about making partner. I don't care about 80-hour weeks. I just care about you, about us." "Did you really read to me?" A small smile touched her lips. "I had the strangest dreams. Poetry and stories in your voice. I kept trying to reach you, but I couldn't move. You heard me." Fresh tears came. "God, Mia, you heard me. I heard you say you loved me," she whispered over and over. "I heard you say you were sorry. I heard you promise to be better. I mean every word. Every single word." Jessica and Tom arrived an hour later, bringing flowers and relieved tears. Watching Mia interact with them, weak but present, smiling despite the pain, I saw clearly what I'd been missing. Mia had a full life, full of love and relationships and grief and joy. I'd been so busy being successful that I'd forgotten to be part of that life. Over the next 3 days, as Mia grew stronger, we talked. Really talked, maybe for the first time in years. She told me about the midnight visits to her mother's memorial, how she'd sit on that bench and cry and remember. She told me about feeling invisible in our marriage, about the loneliness of grieving alone. She told me she'd been contemplating leaving but couldn't imagine life without me. I told her about my fears, that I wasn't enough, that providing was the only way I knew how to show love. I told her about my father, who'd worked himself to death, trying to give my mother everything, and how I'd internalized that as what a husband should be. I told her I'd been wrong about everything. I don't need grand gestures, Mia said one afternoon as we sat together, her head resting on my shoulder. I just need you to see me, to ask how I am and actually listen to the answer, to come with me to visit my mom's memorial, to hold me when I'm sad instead of trying to fix it. I can do that, I promised. I want to do that. And I need to be better too, she added. I need to tell you when I'm struggling instead of hiding it. I need to trust that you can handle my grief, my sadness, all of it. I want all of it, Mia. The good days and the bad ones. The laughter and the tears. That's what marriage is supposed to be. All of it together. On the 6th day after she woke, Dr. Patel cleared Mia to go home. As I helped her into the wheelchair, she was still too weak to walk far. She looked up at me with those dark eyes. Take me to the memorial first, she said, before we go home. I need to visit her. We drove to Riverside Bridge as the sun set, painting the sky in oranges and purples. The small memorial garden was peaceful, with fall leaves scattered across the ground. The bench with Linda's name gleamed in the dying light. I helped Mia to the bench and we sat together, my arm around her shoulders. Hi, Mom, Mia said softly. I brought someone with me this time. Ryan's here. We're going to be okay. I felt Mia lean into me, and I held her tighter. I'm sorry I never came with you before, I said to Linda's memory. I'm here now. I promise I'll take care of your daughter the way she deserves. Mia turned to look at me, tears in her eyes but a smile on her face. You know what I kept thinking while I was in the coma? When I heard your voice reading to me? What? That you finally called me back. I didn't understand at first. Then it clicked. All those missed calls the night of the accident, and now all those days I'd spent calling her back to life with my voice, my presence, my love. I'll never stop calling, I promised. Never again. She reached up and touched my face. And I'll always answer. We sat there as darkness fell. Two people who'd lost their way and found it again in the most painful way possible. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. There was physical therapy, and the hard work of rebuilding a marriage. But we were ready. We were together. As we finally stood to leave, Mia paused and looked back at her mother's bench one last time. She would have liked this, Mia said. You and me here together. She always said marriage wasn't about never falling apart. It was about choosing to put the pieces back together. I took Mia's hand, feeling the warmth of her alive and present beside me. Then let's go home and start putting the pieces back together. Home, Mia said, and smiled. I like the sound of that. We drove home slowly, the city lights guiding us. No more silence, no more distance. Just two imperfect people who'd been given a second chance and weren't going to waste it. When we walked through the door of our apartment, everything looked the same, but felt different. The wedding photos on the mantle weren't collecting dust anymore. They were a reminder of what we'd promised each other and were now choosing again. Ryan? Mia said as I helped her to the couch. Yeah? Thank you for not giving up on me, for staying, for calling me back. I knelt in front of her and took her hands. Mia, I'm going to spend the rest of my life showing up for you. In the big moments and the small ones. When you want to visit your mom's memorial at midnight or cry on a Tuesday or just need someone to sit with you in silence. I'm here. I'm always here. She pulled me up beside her, and we sat together on the couch where we'd had so many fights and silent evenings, but this time we were really together. Present. Seen. We're going to make it, Mia whispered. We already are, I replied. And in that moment, surrounded by the life we'd built and nearly lost, we began again. Not as the people we'd been, but as the people we'd learned to become, together. The text message that could have ended everything instead became the beginning of everything. Because sometimes love isn't about never breaking, it's about the courage to heal together.